So I went to LA, and while I was there, made 2 or 3 really good songs I'm really excited for, and didn't really have a lot of time to comment on what was going on with Pelosi. Now, that being said, I was pretty adamant that she was definitely not only going to go, but that the Chinese government wasn't going to do a thing. And you could see that early on with what they were allowing to become trending on Weibo, and if they were already trying to give excuses to, well, if she did do this, we've already won. We've already won. The fact that she even hesitated to go to Taiwan means that we already won. Any of you familiar with Chinese literature? That's textbook Lush. I mean, that's textbook AQ mentality. It's textbook, which is like no matter how much you lose, you still can spin it to you winning. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And it's exactly what's happening, Lightseeker, with the PRC projectiles flying over Taiwanese and Japanese waters. Now the question becomes, will Japan and Taiwan do something and freak out? I don't think so. I don't think so. But, the Chinese government isn't necessarily great at, I mean, how many fucked up rocket landings have they had? I feel like, how accurate can we trust that they are just going to keep those projectiles within, I don't know, 9 kilometers of the shore? That's what I saw, like one that was like 9.8 kilometers from the south shore of Taiwan. How confident are we that they're not actually going to accidentally make like a rounding error and then accidentally hit a Japanese fisherman or a Japanese ship? Because I don't think that the Chinese government is going to purposely do anything. They're not going to purposely try and cause World War II, because that would be disastrous for China's economy, and it would be disastrous for the Communist Party of China. The Communist Party of China has the most to lose. If you look at everybody in China, out of a war with the world, a Taiwan, which means a World War III, the Chinese government has the most to lose. The Chinese government will lose all their property abroad. I bet that their relatives and stuff living abroad might even face consequences. So of the entire Chinese nation, who has the most to lose from World War III? The Chinese Communist Party does. And so the Chinese Communist Party will boast and talk as much shit as they possibly can without doing anything. Why? Because Taiwan's existence is also a threat to their reign. Because the Chinese government sells Chinese people on the idea that Chinese people aren't fit for democracy. They're not fit for democracy. 不适合中国人, as they say. And so if you see a country like Taiwan, which is obviously one of the best democracies in Asia, arguably the world, then it's like, oh, actually, that claim is bullshit. Why do Chinese feel like Pelosi visiting is a good opportunity for reunification? Meanwhile, let them have their own flag, currency, passport. It's strange. They don't think that much into it. What they really see is, we have been told over the last however many years that we are 强大, we're big, we're strong. Nobody can push us around. Not like the Qing dynasty, okay? The Communist Party's in charge. We fucking rule. And nobody's going to have the balls to push us around. And just like dumbass, like patriotic, like nationalist psychos in America, usually these guys are mostly men that are, their life is so boring. They as humans are so boring that they attach their entire identity to the nation. And when you have people like Fox News, or you have the People's Daily feeding these boring, miserable young men this idea that actually you're strong, you rock, because our country is strong, they're going to be the ones that expect you to invade Taiwan when Pelosi comes. And this is the most interesting aspect about the whole Taiwanese thing with Pelosi's visit. Xi Jinping is losing his most coveted, his most dependable base of support. And that is the nationalists. Chinese nationalists are pretty upset. If you not even go to Weibo, go to your own WeChat circle, your WeChat moments. And even people that don't give a shit about politics are like, what is happening? I thought we were strong. I thought we were mighty. We talked so much shit. She's coming and we're not going to do a goddamn thing. We're not going to do a thing. Now, back to Lightseeker's question, is it possible that they accidentally hit something? Hell yeah, it is. Definitely possible they hit something. Why aren't Chinese fit for democracy? So the reason that they say, there's a lot of reasons they'll try and give, like excuses. But Chinese people, when I was learning Chinese in China, and I was, I would always talk about this with Chinese people, and they would say, 乐乐，你不懂的是，中国真的很大，我们还有很多人住在农村。所以乐乐you don't understand. China's so big. There's still such a huge population that lives in the countryside. 他们的素质太低。They have just such low 素质应该怎么说 like low temperament, low character, poor character. So China as a whole is not fit for democracy. And at the time, when you're a Chinese learner, you hear this stuff and you're like, oh, okay. But then you get really good at Chinese. Then you go to the countryside and you realize, oh, wait, this is a bunch of bullshit. And you realize that all Chinese people, their arguments are copy and pasted. I've not to this day met a Chinese person that has any originality in their arguments. No originality for their pro-CCP arguments. It's all copy and pasted. Some YouTubers comment CCP should announce drill when she is in Singapore and start drill when playing Leaf Kuala Lumpur. Well, the issue is if they strike her down on accident, that's war. And the Chinese government doesn't want war, man. They ain't gonna do it. Now they close the barn door after the horses have bolted. Nice. Yes. I made a post on Twitter I thought was pretty funny, which was all the sea bass have really learned their lesson. The South China Sea used to be filled with lots of sea bass. I think that they're hurting probably, just like all the other marine life there.